Hey guys, welcome to the Traditional Bow Hunting and Wilderness Podcast. This is Jason Samkoviak, and today we are going to talk about what knife you need to do what. It's a question that I get asked constantly, especially through my podcast channel. This is obviously YouTube video stuff here, but I get asked this so much on podcasts that we're going to address it a little bit here for you. So what knife do you need for the things that you're going to do? What would be the best one? What makes a good knife? These are some of the topics we're going to touch on, and make sure you hit the subscribe button below so you get more of this great information. Now, as far as knives, I have these broken up into different categories, different things in there. We'll address hunters here first because most of you guys are hunters, and that way you can get on with your life and you don't have to watch the whole thing if you don't want to. But when it comes to hunting, you're going to need a knife, but it does vary on what knife you need based on what you do. So for example, if you're somebody who just hunts your back 40 or your back 10 acres or on your family farm, and you just need to gut a deer and bring it home, you could do it with anything you want to, from a sharpened butter knife to anything that you see on the table this way over. Will work for you. There are some things that I think make for a good knife, and it depends on what you're looking for it. This little dude right here, you could even use this thing right here if you wanted to fully gut a deer and get that thing back to the truck or back to the house or whatever you wanted to. So it doesn't take much. And there's a million other variations of these knives than what I have on display. These are just my personal ones. Some of these, this one here is my daughter's that she has with her all the time. This one is my wife's. So this one here was passed down from my grandpa. Again, we got variations on the table here, but point being that there's a bunch more other than these out there, and it doesn't have to be expensive, but there are some good things that make it good. Now, my personal favorite as far as a gutting type knife, I'm not a fan of gut hooks, although they work good. I'm just not a fan of sharpening them or messing with them. But in my opinion, ESEE Izula, as you're seeing right here, these two are both ESEE Izula knives. They are phenomenal knives. This one I've been carrying for about it's been over 10 years I've been carrying this one. You probably can't see it real good there, but you can see the difference in how much of that blade has been lost from me sharpening this thing so many times over the years. Compared to a new one. But the ESEE Izula is an absolute incredible knife. Now, you can also have these with handle scales, which you can buy. They're not expensive. I don't remember how much they are. I'll have links to a lot of this stuff below for you to make life easier, but you can put these scales on there like that, and then you got a little bit of a handle on there if you want to. I don't run mine with them on there, but it is an option if you want to, and they are a handy little thing to have. But the ESEE Izula, you've heard me say it in other videos and other podcasts, is my favorite knife. I love the functional aspect of this, and its lightweight, ultra-light size. It's a very, very great knife to have. Another one in that category, the Tops MSK 2.5, another phenomenal little knife. Very similar in size to that ESEE Izula. They're very close. I prefer the Izula a little better because I do like ESEE a little better. Tops is great. I'm just a big fan of ESEE and their blade designs and their heat treat. Tops is right there too. Like I said, you can't go wrong. But any of these are going to be great. Now, you can use folders. You can definitely use a folder, and I think a folding knife is probably the most common deer hunting knife out there. The trouble with using a folding knife is the maintenance that's required afterwards. In order, when you get done gutting a deer with this, the amount of fat, tallow, and crap and hair and everything that is inside, all of this mechanism in there, buried inside of there that you have to clean out. Some are good like this where they clean out, they have an area so you can clean them out, but a lot of them don't. But they, to try and clean all that gunk and crap out of there can be an absolute handful. So I'm not a fan of folders. I'm not a fan of folders pretty much at all anymore. I don't carry folders. I'm just not a big fan. I prefer a fixed blade knife. And then this one is actually this Izula that I carry in my modified sheath here, where you can see I cut that sheath down in size compared to the original size one that's there. I just took it on my bench grinder and grinded it down. I carried it in my front pocket with this wrapped around my belt like that. That's how it hangs in my front pocket. But this is lighter in weight than this is, and I get a lot more knife. I get a lot more rigid construction, more durable, solid, construction. I get 1095 steel, which I'm in love with. I get a lot of benefits from this. So choice is yours, but this, when I'm done with a deer, I can clean this off literally in the field instantly, super quick, a little bit of quick wipe down, and this thing is spotless, where this will require me to get home and spend a little time with scrub brushes and hot water and trying to spray it in there with a sprayer and fighting to clean this out, and then I usually have to oil that afterwards as well too. So folders may or may not be the best option for you. Completely up to you. You cannot go wrong here. Again, if you're just trying to get a deer out of the woods and gut it and get it home, you can literally use anything you want to. Now, in this subject here too, oh, one more I wanted to mention on that. If you want a heirloom quality knife, there are a million good ones out there as well too. This one I bought as an heirloom. It was supposed to be handed down to my son. This is a White River caper knife is what it is. And it comes, you can get it in a huge variety of scales. This one happens to have orange G10, but they got a tremendous amount of options for these. Great knife, S30V steel, so it's a real high-end super steel kind of knife. And it's just it razor sharp. It works like a champ, and it's got a beautiful design to it. Nice sheath that comes with it, and it makes for a perfect, perfect neck knife, which is what I used it for. I mean, I wasn't gonna save it for him and never use it, so I carry this knife quite a bit with me when I'm hunting. But that way, it's right there, so when I don't lose anything. So when I get that deer done, I'm working, that sheath is right there. I don't have to set that knife down and worry about losing it. It can go right back in that sheath on my neck. Any of these can be worn as a neck knife as well too if you want to. But that one there is not an expensive, not super expensive, but it sure is one heck of an heirloom hand-me-down kind of knife, which was the sole purpose of what I bought this knife for. So that's another great option. With these, not only are they, I mean, like I said, any one of them will work to get your deer gutted and get it out of there. Heck, you could gut it with this if you wanted to. It'd be pointless and crazy to carry that out there for that, but point is you can do it. But my opinion, a fixed blade is going to be better because it's easier to clean. There's no chance of it closing on your hands. You don't have gunk to mess up in there. And it is a more rigid type blade. If you have to spend a night in the woods, again, if you're on your 5 acres or 10 acres or whatever, your own land, chances are you won't have to. But if you're on a hunt where you possibly do, this Izula will let you actually build shelters, get things done, make stuff happen. It's not great at it, but it will do it. Where you try batoning and using this for that kind of stuff, and you're probably going to break this whole thing apart or have problems with it. Benchmade being one of the best ones out there as far as lockers, I really like it, but it has nowhere near, not even close to the durability and strength and rigidity that you get out of a simple fixed blade kind of knife. So, but that's, they're going to be great for getting it out of the woods. Now, if you are going to be in a place and do like I do, where you bone your deer out in the woods quite often, where like when I'm in Missouri, I'm in Kansas, all these places, I'm not dragging a deer out of the woods. Especially these, some of these are more than a mile in, up and down ridges, and they're a headache to get in and out of, and I am not dragging a deer. I won't drag a deer more than 100 yards. If it's further than 100 yards from my truck, it gets boned out on the spot. Now, you got to watch your laws on that in some places. Some places you're not allowed to, like here in Michigan, I'm not allowed to leave those bones and hide, and that's considered dumping. So I can't leave that stuff here. So here in Michigan, 9 times out of 10, I use a jet sled. But if I were to bone one out, some of my stands that are far in, if I bone that deer out and pack it out, I will actually bone it out, get it done, pack the whole deer out. As soon as I get back with that to the truck, I grab my jet sled and I'll go back in. I'll throw my tree stand, all my sticks, my stuff, and then my pack that I left there, and all the bones, hide, and everything that's left in there except for the gut pile, and I will bring it all out with me. So you have to check your laws and make sure you can or can't do that. But if you are going to be working animals, quartering them out, boning them out in the field, I think nothing beats a Havalon. Havalon are great, great knives. This system is flawless. Now, this will also work great as a as a gutting knife as well too. These are phenomenal for game processing. The only reason I say that this should not be the only knife that you have with you is, again, if you need a knife to do something knifey, I guess is the best way to put it. This, in my opinion, is not a knife. This is a replaceable blade scalpel that is used for the processing of game. It is not a knife. That's what it is. These are knives. These are capable of doing knifey stuff. This, again, amazing tool. Absolutely amazing tool. Not a knife. It is a replaceable blade scalpel, in my opinion. You just have no strength here that you can work with that's going to give you any major benefit and things that you need a knife for. So, but these are great for taking animals apart. The blades, you can get a lot of, I can go through an entire deer, one whole entire deer, and I mean, skinned, quartered, boned out, in my game bags, on my back and home with this, with one blade. And then I can touch that blade up again on my ceramic rod and strop it, and I can use that blade again on another deer and get through a whole deer with it. So these are phenomenal, and they're ultra lightweight. You will notice on here that this blade that I have, this is the 70A blades. The 60A, the original Havalon blades, the 60A is a very steep, acute, aggressive point. I hate those blades. I still have a bunch of them. Whenever I put them on there, I take this out in the garage and I round it with my grinder because I don't want that tip. I like this rounded tip on there, because with that other one is I'm in there and I'm working stuff, I'm constantly, I poke myself with those 68 blades, I'm always bleeding. That's just so, I mean, the point on it is just so incredibly vicious that any little touch and you're bleeding, and it goes in deep. So I don't like the 60A blades, I like these. This is the 70A blade. Those are my favorites that I use on there. And this is a great setup. Like I said, can't go wrong with a Havalon. Again, you do got to do some cleaning out in here, but as you can see, they have that opened all the way up, so you can get very easy clean out in this. It's a very simple design. Flawless system. Havalon is phenomenal. Now, if you don't want to go with the folder or pay the, you know, whatever it costs for these, they're not expensive, very not expensive. But if you don't want to go that route, Havalon does make a ultra light taxidermy handles, what this is called. It's designed for the taxidermy, and this is their number 8. Okay, their Havalon's taxidermy handle number 8 fits all of your regular Havalon blades. So this number 8 model right here, this plus blades in here, like I got a bunch of blades in there. I don't know, there's probably 8, 10, 12 blades inside of here. This one I usually run at 22 blades. They're a little shorter just because I got bunches of them. But you can put this right in there with those blades and have this very compact, simple unit to carry. I did a video that shows the weight differences between running this one or the Bolt model and that, and you would be amazed at the difference in weight between this one. So if you're looking to save a lot of weight and be as lightweight as you possibly can, this is the way to go. This and then one extra blade weighs literally nothing. And I don't have the dimensions, but it's not done in ounces, it's done in grams, like in grains, like arrow weight, grain weight. I mean, very, very light setup. So, but these are great for taking animals apart. That's what I use them for. They are a surgical scalpel with a replaceable blade that is designed to take animals apart. And they fit that bill perfectly to a T. Now, also, again, what do you need? What knife for what? You know, well, for hunting, you got these are going to be fantastic. These are not really hunting knives under any circumstances. I don't see, even if I was moose hunting or elk hunting, I don't see the advantage to using something like this to take that animal apart. Could you? Yes, you can. Maybe there's a few circumstances where you might want to, and if I was on a moose hunt, one of these would be with me. But is it required? No. You could take a moose apart with this all day long, and you can take a moose apart with this all day long, as far as whitetails and all that stuff. So just keep that in mind. Don't let this stuff overwhelm you. Now, the advantage to these is they're also everyday knives. These are pocket knives, okay? So whether you go with something like that, which I don't, all you can do with this is open a box. Kind of pointless. But if you wanted something very small and flat and thin in your pocket, well, this Essie folder right here is phenomenal. I don't even know what this thing's called. BRK R1. Now keep in mind, even though it is Essie, this is called the Zancudo. It is still, this blade is Taiwan Aussie 8 blade. This is not true Essie quality kind of thing, but it is a great folder. It's solid. This is my wife. She carries this with her everywhere she goes. Mainly used as a box opener, but it's very lightweight, very thin profile, and a phenomenal knife. And again, very easy clean out through there, as you can see, open all the way through. So it, like I said, very awesome knife and not expensive even a little bit. So phenomenal stuff, but you want something with you every day. Mini grip, Benchmade mini grip Tillion. This one here being my daughter's. This knife is a great carry knife. It's pretty lightweight, simple. It is legal size at under 3 inches, as all these are except for this one here. This is the full size grip Tillion, which is a little bigger. It may not be legal everywhere. And that's a lot of knife as a pocket knife. People carry it, but that's you don't need all that knife for everyday use, or for process, or for breaking deer apart, or the things that we're going to do. Why I love the Izula. You know, this Izula is the ultra lightweight, perfect size, fixed, rigid. I love it for all the reasons that I've mentioned. The MSK, very similar to that, and there are hundreds of thousands of other knives that fit this category that will serve you perfectly well. The beauty of what you're seeing here is somebody who uses knives every single day and uses them in the field every single day. You can see kind of some of the blade profiles that I lean to, some of the characters, so maybe it's steering you in the right direction. Some of these things out there, they get a little crazy. Little cattywampus, weird shapes, weird geometry. There's no reason to reinvent the wheel. You know, simple, powerful, functional, very hard to beat. So, but those are those in a nutshell. And you should have a knife on you every day. Everywhere you go, all the time, you should have a knife. And again, something very simple, lightweight, hidden and out of the way. Something, you know, like this, or like I said, something like this. Doesn't matter, but some kind of a knife with you out there at the very least. Something like that little Gerber. But there are options. Now, jumping it up a step further. When it comes time to get into a knife that's going to be more of a bushcraft knife, a woods knife, a trap building knife. I mean, these are 85% of everything you're going to ever need to do with a knife are right here. I would venture to say 90%. There are times when these knives come in valuable. If you start spending time in the woods, and you're going to be out there on extended trips, things like that, you're going to want something more than this. Whether it's making tripods to hold your fire, you know, hold your food above the fire, it's making bear poles to put meat up in trees, fixing this, modifying that, cutting lantern stakes, cutting down a pole that you're going to use so that you can extend something out there. Whatever the case is, there's times, emergency shelter building, you know, I've only spent a few nights in the woods where I couldn't make it back. And again, I'm up here in northern Michigan, a lot of public land up here and miles of it. And there's been times that I've had to spend a night in the woods trying to cut pine boughs off of a pine tree so that I can set up in the snow and get myself a good insulating factor in there and hunker in where I'm going to be set up for the night. But in prepping things to make my fire and do that, yes, I can do it with my Izula. It's pure miserable. It's just not fun. This isn't designed for that. Having something like this, which is my Essie number 4, here's another one. This is one of the originals before they were even Essie, back when they were Rat. I don't use this one. I kind of keep it as a kind of like a little collector's thing. But this, same thing. These are Essie number 4s. And the one I use, this one goes with me everywhere. It is still lightweight, rock solid and strong. But having something like this allows me to do all of those things we were just talking about way better than my little Izula does. This is just a much more functional knife. I can baton this. I can use it to take branches down. I can use it for anything I need to do. I can choke right up nice and tight on that blade. If I were to only have one knife, if you said you can only bring one knife for whatever you want to do ever in the field, it would be this one. Now, I obviously would never just bring one knife. But if I could only bring one knife, this Essie number 4 would be it. This is the jack of all trades, do everything you want to, not heavy, lightweight, strong, durable, indestructible, just incredible knife. But there's other great ones out there too. But that's where these kind of come into play. If you're going on an elk hunt or something like that, or a sheep hunt, or some backcountry wilderness hunt, or even a bear hunt where there's possibilities, even if you go out and bear hunt, you just have this on you, and you kill a bear, and then you're going to go back there and track that bear, walking through the thick brush, you know, northern Canada and stuff like that while you're blood trailing, I wouldn't go do that without having something like this with me. If I get lost and have to spend a night out there, I want this knife with me. So that's where these come into play. Another Essie in that category, Essie number 3. It is a thinner blade design, thinner spine to it. You can see it's a little bit smaller. You can also see that the handle is a little thinner scales on there. It's a little smaller knife. This is my wife's favorite. She loves this knife. This is actually hers. Uses it a lot. You can see it's starting to get pretty beat up, but this thing is a great little slicer, perfect little knife. I think you get a lot more again out of this being a little thicker. It's a titch heavier, but this is, you know, as a one knife does everything, that's a little better. But this one is phenomenal. Essie number 3. That's a great knife, but these are phenomenal. But something in these lines here is something I think every outdoorsman should have. Great options every day in use, but this is important. Now, another great one right here. This is the Brothers of Bushcraft from Tops. Great knife. Haven't used this one a ton yet. I just bought it this year, and it is an excellent knife. I'm still liking my SE number 4 better. From the fact that it's a little bit lighter than this is. I don't need all that thick handle scale, and I don't need all that I don't know what I'm doing with all that. That's a lot of handle down there that I don't need on that knife, where this one fits my hand about perfect. So, and then, you know, so I'm a little bigger fan of the SE one personally, but this is another fantastic option on here in this category. Again, in my opinion, everybody should own, if you're an outdoorsman, you should have one solid fixed blade, good quality knife. And none of these are expensive, all right? They're not expensive. But for my taste, SE number 4 is going to fit that bill. The oddball in here, one of my all-time favorites that you don't hear me talk about much so, is Falls Knifing. Okay, these guys are incredible. This is their S1. What's nice about it, it's total through tang. It is a laminated style blade on here, okay? But it's a great blade, gets razor sharp, but what's really cool is this knife is ultra lightweight. I mean, for the size of this, you get the same functionality you're going to get out of this one, but this knife is got to be 25% lighter than at SE because of the steel and the lightweight handle that's on here. But this knife is indestructible, very strong, very functional. I used it a lot. It's durable, but it will do your survival stuff. So if you were going on a backpack hunt and you wanted to bring something like this kind of a knife with you, and weight was a consideration, this SE number 3 and this one, they're about the same weight as they feel in the hand. They're very similar in weight, but look at the size of blade you get to work with here for camp chores, making chairs, whatever you want to do. Like I said, all the stuff you could do. This one has a lot of value to it and a lot of function to it. So that's another great option. Again, in this category though, that SE number 4 that's my bread and butter. I've never seen, I don't like a knife better than I like this one. And I've been using this one for so many years. It has been beat to, it's been through hell and back. It's incredible. So those fit that category. And again, hundreds of other options out there, but I think everybody outdoorsy should have one of these. When I go hiking with my family, this knife goes with me all the time. When I'm hunting, this knife is in my pack all the time because I do hunt a lot of, even though it's in Michigan, it's a lot of places where I could be 5-8 miles from anywhere and in some pretty nasty swamps and stuff like that. So this knife here for me comes in just super handy to have. But now these categories over here, these are what we consider survival knives. All right, these are shelter building, survival. This is living off the land. This is get out there and make your own shelters, build all your own stuff. Hatchet quality, almost kind of uses of knives that you see on a lot of shows that people use. These are very, like I said, where your knife is your only tool that you have out there and you have to make a bunch of crap. And for that category, you have an SE number 6. It's a phenomenal knife. Actually, again, my favorite. I really like the SE knives. This one's been stripped. The coating has been stripped and patinaed because I don't care for that coating on the blades. I don't like the way it feels on there. When I'm cutting, I like them stripped off. But this is that SE number 6. It is a 6-inch blade, absolutely phenomenal. Do you need a knife like this? Most likely not. Is it a good knife to have? For sure, 100%. Here's a Rat 7, just a little bit bigger than that SE number 6 is. You know, as you put them, line them up blade to blade, just a little bit bigger. Ontario Rat 7, fantastic knife, very functional knife, a great camp knife, a great, it's a great knife for a lot of things. But do you have to have it? Probably not. When you know, is it good to have? Yes. And will it be functional? Yes. But this is not, these are not knives that you're going to take with you hunting. You're not going to take them with you hiking. You're not going to, you probably want to take one with you camping, maybe, depending. Because again, it depends on what kind of stuff you're doing there. But these knives take this stuff to the next level in ease of use, chopping, batoning, processing firewood, building traps, building poles, making furniture, building shelters, that kind of stuff. That's where these kind of excel at. Another great one on here, Becker BK2. Even though this is a little 5-inch knife, this one, as you can see here, look at the 1/4-inch thick blade on this knife. That's huge. It is smaller in size, as you can see, but because of that super thick blade, this thing it chops like a hatchet. This thing's just a beast. It gets it done. very heavy. This knife is the heaviest on here. This knife is double the weight of this knife. It's huge and heavy, but it is a, you know, indestructible tool. I keep one of these in my truck all the time. I mean, there's nothing you can't rip through. I could rip a car apart with this knife all day long. So I do. Great knife and very affordable. So, but it kind of goes to show you there's a knife for different purposes. You know, will this do everything you want in the woods? Yes, it will. It will do everything you want every day, and everything you want in the woods perfect. But there may be times where this is going to work a lot better for you. And so, you know, and you're going to maybe want to carry one of them. These are more specialty. I understand, especially in today's society where people aren't into survival and they're not into, you know, building, you know, debris huts and shelters and making things like that out there, then maybe you don't want something like this. But there are great ones out there if you do. But this kind of gives you an idea that there's, you know, not really a one knife for everything. And and this is just scratching the surface. This is probably 0.5% of the knives in these categories that are available to you, and most of them are good. I'm a huge fan of 1095 steel. I like it. 1095 steel sharpens very fast. If it is Rowan heat treated like Essie is, or heat treated, differential heat treat like Tops does, not only do they sharpen fast, they hold the edge very well, way better than 1095 should. So it's my favorite steel. And you can take this I watch guys with this 1095 SE number 6 jam this thing that far into a stump and bend it on a 45-degree angle, 50-degree angle both ways, and they can't break these. 1095 is an awesome, awesome steel. S30V, another great steel. It's a little trickier of a steel. It takes me 3 times as long to sharpen, and I only get about 1.5 times of the life of the blade out of it. So is it my favorite? No. Is it really stain resistant and you know, doesn't rust? Yes, it's great for that. Very, very stain or you know, rust proof. Where these, you need to have it either be coated like it comes, or you want to put a patina on there with vinegar, which I've got videos on, but something to protect it, because this will rust pretty quickly over time if you don't do something with it. Just surface rust doesn't hurt anything, but you will notice some on there because it's 1095, a very high carbon steel, where these got a lot of chrome and other stuff in them that just may give them that that rust proofness and that rust resistance on there. So again, there's something out there for everybody. There's options in every category of this, and there is no one set thing that works. There is no one, just because I say this is my favorite knife doesn't mean that if this is your favorite that there's anything wrong, or any other knife out there. There is no right or wrong. Every one of them is phenomenal, and they all work incredible. But you see the variances on maybe what you do or you don't want. You definitely need something in this category, and you need it on you every day, in my opinion. That's my best advice. These, as an outdoorsman, you should have something from this category. Doesn't matter which one, but if you spend time outdoors, you should have something like this with you. If you're on a camping trip in the wild, out in the wilderness with your family, you should be carrying this knife on you, because it is, or at least have it there for some of the fun stuff you want to do. Using this to whittle marshmallow sticks, or like I said, to make a tripod to hang your lantern on or something, using this knife is so much easier to do that than using this, or using this, or using this, or any of that stuff. It just works so much better. So having something from this category, I think, is a mandatory thing for an outdoorsman. These, if you want one, great. I think they're a fantastic option. We have like 5 more knives that are in this category. We have 2 of these. I have 1 more of these that's never been used, and we have 5 of these. I have them spread all over the place, and every one of our vehicle has one of these. Easy access too, kind of thing, because that'll open a window with that pummel on there. That'll break you right out of a window. It'll cut you out of a seatbelt, do whatever you want. And like I said, you could basically rip a car apart with that Becker BK2, and they're very, very affordable. So these are great knives. So there it is for you. I don't know how else to word it, but there is a knife for whatever you want to do available to you. But these give you some of the multifunctionality and some of the different things that I think, as an outdoorsman, from somebody that spends a lot of time outdoors, you know, this is a for sure given 100%. This is a I think you should have or eventually think about getting. This you may or may never need, but that kind of gives you an idea of stuff. But these, again, great options as well too, and none of this stuff is expensive. most of the knives on here, with the exception of a couple, are going to be under $100, and a lot of them under $50, you know, that kind of thing. These are not expensive knives. Sorry, camera cut off on me there, stopped recording. Memory card ran out. But anyway, great options, great categories. Hopefully you learned something out of this. Hopefully, you know, it gave you some insight or some pointers on what to look for or what you might want to go into next. And again, millions of possibilities other than just what I have here on the table. But I will put some links down below for a few of these so you can kind of see what's what. It'll get you steered in the right direction. Or if you want more information on this SC6 or on any of these, or you want to know what's out there, I'll put a couple links down in the description for you so it's real quick and easy to get to. And be sure to hit the subscribe button below so you get more of this information. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you doing it. If you have comments, ask me. Ask me on any of this stuff, on any of the videos I'm putting out there. You got a question, hit me up in the comment. There is no stupid questions. There is no anything, and I do my best to answer all of them really quickly. So anything you need help with, just let me know. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.